our first question has to do with animal control. So, this question is, and we'll go ahead and start with Mr. Shell and just rotate. You guys make it easy with just two. I can make sure I'm very fair here. Animal control has been an issue between the city and county for the past several years. What do you think is the best approach to county animal control?
Well, I think the best approach to animal control is, I've heard that the county is looking at a building down on Water Street, because we've been having a lot of issues with money with the city. So I think myself that we could take, maybe there's a building down there that we could buy. It doesn't take much to get it set up, and I think that we could put Randy Lee in there probably, and which he is animal control now, which he could run that maybe with a part-time person, and have our own animal control instead of working through the city, because what we would pay them, we could have that building and control it ourselves.
Finally, something we disagree on, Preston. Finally. Actually, for those of you who don't know how animal control works currently, the city actually owns the dog pound, so to speak, the animal control center where all the animals go into. The county gives the city some subsidy to help with the cost of running that facility, and then they also, of course, supply Randy Lee as a county dog warden, animal control officer, so to speak. The city also has one. I really think the system we have in place now, I think, is a good system. I think it would be bringing unwarranted costs to the taxpayers of the county to try to run a facility on their own. I think it would be much more expensive than just subsidizing what the city already has into it. If down the road the county decided they wanted to maybe add some space to the existing facility, then that might be a place to put money in. But I do not agree that the county needs to go out and try to run a facility on their own. I think they're much better off in cooperation with the city.
Did I rebuttal on that?
We do not have rebuttals
Okay.
tonight, but you can certainly make a note to
That's
mention
okay.
something in closing statements. The second question is, the prosecutor anticipates the need for additional personnel to deal with an increased number of thefts and cases after Walmart opens. Where will the funding come from for this endeavor? We'll go ahead and start with Mr. Day.
Well, I think that's going to be one of those things that, it's kind of an unforeseen. You don't know. You can speculate that probably you're going to have some problems with shoplifting and things such as that when they come in. And again, that's an unforeseen cost. Actually, Walmart is going to lie in the city limits. That's been annexed by the city. So most of that coverage as far as thefts and other issues there will come from city officers and taking care of those issues. But, of course, some of that will come through the prosecutor's office. But I believe the prosecutor has adequate staff on hand to handle the extra cases coming down the pipe, or the extra cases that could possibly come down the pipe. I'm not a person who likes to speculate about things. I mean, I do believe it's a good idea to plan for the future, but I don't think we could sit down and put a hard number to it and say exactly what the cost is going to be to the county. And again, like I say, the city officers are going to be the ones handling the majority of those issues at the facility itself, or at Walmart, or wherever else it might be out there in any kind of new construction area. But of course, the prosecutor's office will absorb some more business.
Mr. Shaw.
Okay, I would say that they possibly could absorb some more business, through shoplifting and stuff. But, like Tom said, I don't think we need one at this time, because we don't know that they're going to need one. We don't know how much more it's going to pick up. It's going to pick up some, sure, with the cases, the caseload that they have. But at this time, I would say that I can't see any more than that.
Thank you. Well, we'll go ahead and let you start by answering this next question. The county's first zoning regulation deals with confined feeding operations. What, in your opinion, should be the next priority?
In the zoning, I think the next priority should be like where that we have Indiana land. It goes out and puts these subdivisions in. I think that we need to look at that and go out there, because like the runoffs of the water and stuff like that are just going everywhere. There's nothing that is contained that it needs to be, and I think we need to start there and start working on these subdivisions that just sitting there, grass growing up, water running off. Just
believe the next part of zoning is, of course, residential. We've pretty well been through our issues dealing with ag. I think it's unfair to try to govern ag in the county and not try to govern other things. I believe zoning is needed for some of the reasons discussed before. You know, we've had some issues with some development that haven't exactly been the most upstanding developers and not exactly taking the most care in their plans from the get-go. There's some other areas. We actually have a subdivision ordinance in effect right now. I believe in some ways that subdivision ordinance is way too strict. In other areas, I think it's way too loose. I think that's something that needs to be revisited. The county has, you know, their plan for overall land development across the county. I believe very highly in sticking with that, but I do in fact believe that zoning needs to be the next thing to come down the pipe. Again, I think it's unfair to govern the farmers and not govern typical residents and things like that and the development of our grounds around it.
Thank you. Our next question is the county currently contracts with Temple for road paving and major repairs. Is this more cost effective than the county handling it on its own? Start with you, Mr. Bell.
I think it's both cost effective and labor effective. I mean, we're pretty well held down to the labor force we have currently, and I think they're stretched about as thin as they can be stretched. I think if we had to take on paving on our own, I believe not only would we have to hire many more employees, but we'd have to hire or purchase a lot more equipment. It's a specialized thing. I don't believe that the county's ever been set up for it or ever done any paving before. Of course, we do patching and things like that around, but I think we would be taking on opening up a whole other can of worms if we decided to take on paving on our own. So I think it would be a much more expensive, like I said, not only in the labor aspect of it, but also in the equipment and in the supplies.
I think I'll have to agree with Tom. We can't afford to buy the equipment, keep the equipment up. We, the guys that does it now, like Temple and stuff, those are professionals. They know how to do the roads, you know, they know how to keep them up, they know what the thickness has got to be on there. So I would say, no, we don't need, county doesn't need to take it on.
Thank you. Well, this is the last question that I have written here. What is your feeling over the recent decision to put video cameras in the commissioners' meeting room and making the recordings of the meeting available to the public?
Well, I think it's a great thing. I don't have anything against Indiana Proud, but I think that it would be a good idea to go ahead and put those in there because that way you can still go online, but you can go online that way and see what is going on and everything.
I think it's just another good way to obey the open door law. I think it's very tough for people to have a job, a 9 to 5 or you know, through the week. County council meetings, commissioner meetings are all held in the mornings on weekdays, and it's very hard for the public to attend. I think, of course, we do have Indiana Proud to publish some now, but I think it's something that the county can put in place. That way it's a completely open forum for everyone. The county's going to put it in, it would be available. Any common citizen could have the website, they could go to the county site, they could view all the meetings, and it's just another way for people to keep up on current events. That way, if they know if there's something going on in their area, there's some type of issue that they need to have concern about, it will bring it to their attention and they can go ahead and contact their county councilman or their county commissioner. So I do believe it's a good idea.
Yeah, so we have a follow-up question before we get to closing remarks. This is from the audience. And following up with repairing county roads, what do you feel is the right way to handle the paving of county roads? You guys have talked about that a little bit, but could you go in a little bit more in depth in terms of what your policies would be as a commissioner?
Who do you want to say?
Yeah, either one of you.
I think it comes down to grading the roads. I think, of course, you have to look at several issues, you know. Record keeping, when the road was paved last, and you know, trying to figure out what's your highest travel roads. I feel bad for people who live on a dead-end road because there are probably going to be people who are looked at last. You have to look at the frequency people are on that road, the condition of it overall. I think record keeping, grading the roads, things that have been done in the past have worked pretty well. Of course, our budgets have gotten tighter, and we're not able to do quite as much. I like the new sealing that they're doing, you know, where they're going out and doing this crack sealing on some of these roads. I think that's a great new tool to use. The state's done it for years and years. It might prolong the life of a road for 4 or 5 years before it's going to have to be paved. The newer roads are still in decent condition. It's going to help those greatly. And, you know, it might provide a tool to help us play a little bit of catch up here and get back to maintaining our roads in the way we were used to several years ago.
Well, I think, you know, maintaining our roads, we the commissioners got to get together, I know, and they have different, districts they gotta do. Commissioners over different districts. But what they need to do is they allow so much money, you know, for each district. Say if we get 300,000, each district probably gets 100,000. But I think they need to sit down as commissioners and prioritize what needs blacktop, what needs taken care of, and pave those roads that really need, you know, even if all three commissioners have to go to different districts and look to see what's going on. Like I said, I think they need to prioritize and do those roads as they are needed to be blacktop.
Thank you. If there are no other questions from the audience, we'll go ahead and do closing remarks. And I believe I started with you, right, Mr. Shell?
You did.
So we'll go ahead and let Mr. Day have his closing remarks again first.
Thank you. Of course, I was born and raised like most everyone else in this room in Washington County. Grew up on the family farm just east of Salem. 18 years ago, I was presented an opportunity, like a lot of other people. I had to work off the farm. I had a family to raise and support, so I took a job with the fire department, and that was kind of the beginning of my public service to the county. You know, before you do the little things, your personality doesn't change, or if you're a good person, you're a good person, but that really began my time as public service for the community. I just kind of got a feel for it. I believe in serving the public. I've served on several boards. I try to give back at every opportunity. I've been a part of several benefits, and I feel like the Commissioner's Office is just another way that I can give back to the county and do my part. I've never been one person to complain about anything. I always say you can't, well, I might have complained, but I always say you can't complain unless you try to do something about it. So I believe this is my way to try to do something about it and try to help the county look not only this year, next year, but down the road into the future. You know, we've got to try to start thinking about things 15, 20 years down the road, and that's the direction I want to head.
Well, I want to be a commissioner because I want to help with the future of the county. And I've got 28 years of public service with the Washington County Sheriff's Department. Part of that is a reserve, part of it is full-time. But I'm a people person. I like people, I like to talk to people, I listen to people. I want to hear all of the counties. I want to hear their concerns and listen to them and see what I can do to help them. But I'm a negotiator, so I can help negotiate, I can help problem solving. I've been a supervisor for years with Campbell, and I would like to have your vote on November the 4th, and I thank you for allowing us to come here tonight.
Yeah, thank you, John. Let's give this gentleman